Oh my God. With one little thing isn't available. Okay, so we're recording the meeting now. Thank you everyone for being patient. All right, let's get Amy out of here. Well, guys, welcome to Mission Mountain. Today, Claudia, not time to talk to the dog. So right now we have Mission Mountain, which is our live video training for bioenergetics, career development, and hands-on healing. I hope everyone has done the Yang medicine schematics up to this point and is starting to juice up and get familiar with this and feel some changes in their energy system. Now it's getting time to go for it. Now these days where we look at mission, it's going to be more about bioenergetics, the 5 types, how to create high ticket courses, and how to do hands-on healing modalities. Okay, so honey, I don't know. Could you maybe do that outside? Well, oh, it's just the typing, like. Oh, is it really distracting? Well, I'm just trying to focus. Okay. I could go outside maybe. No, it's cool. All right. Today's missions. I want us to do an energy master move that the live video cut off last time. So some of you got it. Joshua was here. In fact, Joshua, maybe you could jump in and share again. So I want to just recover that since we missed it. I want to go over the 5 personality types of bioenergetics. And so we're going to learn the whole schematic and modality for that today in a simplified, streamlined, more of like a master course way. This isn't for the high school kids. I want to teach those who want to learn high ticket courses, show you guys the modalities that I'm looking at that are working, and work on yours. And I want to show how to even use that with the bioenergetic model. And another mission today is I want to teach you the first hands-on healing move that I want to teach. I thought about teaching the chelation, which was this complicated, it's like knowing 20 kung fu moves. Really, I want to teach you one move you're going to use a lot more than the chelation right now, so we can start building for mastery and not add a level of complexity. When we get to that, Paula, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on that, because I think you'll think it makes sense. So those are our 4 missions. A review of an energy mastery micro move, or move from last week, the 5 personality types of bioenergetics, the high ticket courses framework, and the hands-on healing, one master move that will give you deeper and further, hopefully, than most things they teach you in bioenergetics and hands-on healing Reiki. Just this one move. Okay, today's master move, micro adjustments for macro results. Micro adjustments. Here's my secret to micro adjusting, is you put power first. So when you build up with core energy, let me see. When you fill up with core energy, you can do small movements that will open the spine, open the back, move a vertebrae a little bit, move a hip in just this way. Constantly doing these little shifts and moves for core. A lot of the peak performance people I know, like really on their top of their game folks, they're always talking about these micro moments. Now, when you do a little micro adjustment in your neck, in your back, in your shoulders, those kind of things, if you don't have much energy, you're drained celery, or you're a frigid, like, piece of rock, it doesn't work very well. But if you're really powered up, juiced up energy system, one little move can pop things that an entire yoga class won't. You can get things to just take off. You can kind of move in and squeeze and like crush things that have been bothering you for a long time and turn them into light when you power up first. So that's my secret. And I've had micro adjustments when I was powered up on full sun that I would say were better than like 10 days of ayahuasca journeying. That's how powerful it can be when you power up first. In fact, I was on the mountain yesterday getting lots of sun and thinking about you guys. and how I was just micro-adjusting my foot when I got enough sun in there, micro-adjusting my foot to my knee, to my pelvic area. And these tiny things were crushing energy and turning into light. So it's a really powerful, simple move that goes like all the way. In fact, this one move with powering up would probably get you to mastery. Now, Joshua, you came on yesterday and showed us a pretty cool move, or on Wednesday. Do you want to show us that core move? Are you open to do that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I'll just kind of preface with most of the movement that I do is intuitive, with like feeling which way the energy wants to move and which way the energy wants to go, so that I can kind of give it what it wants. And especially using the computer a lot, I find myself like hunched over, in this direction,
I don't
leaning.
see your video. Is your video up right now?
Yeah, I can. Let me know if that helps. Can you see me now?
It could be me. I'm just seeing Amy right now. Well, maybe just guide us through it.
Satya says I see him. Okay, so I'll just do it verbally also. So when you're hunched over the computer and you have your spine is in that direction all day, it starts to create a kink in the neck, and especially in the right where the head meets the neck, and it has like a even according to my chiropractor, it has a kink in there. And so I specifically bend probably 3 times a day in the opposite direction. So I'm doing it in my video, but also describe it. And I bend backwards, and this helps open the heart, helps open the chest, and this is where a lot of anger is stored. And so without doing this, a lot of anger will just build up, and bending backwards gives our spinal joints the flexibility that we wouldn't otherwise have, because we're probably not exercising and all that stuff as much as we need to.
Right. And, he's talking about all this core stuff because I think over 3 months, I feel this very strongly. If you guys are going out and sunning up and doing the modality, you're going to be experiencing rapid core opening and powering up. Like what Josh was describing is exactly what I'm experiencing, which I wrote a lot about, opening my heart and the electric Jesus. And now that I'm powering up and these micro adjustments and going against that energy that's been doing the same thing for 20 years too, like Josh was saying, like lean that way, is my heart is just like opening and a lot of core energy is being reclaimed. Anyone that was like 85% or under on your energy field level, which is most people here, we're probably going to be doing a lot of core stuff. So get ready. They're going to micro adjust. You might have some identity loss. It might get a little bit like, whoa. And then just remember to go back to a good mood, a good energy feeling in your core. So micro adjustments. Thank you, Joshua. And that spinal stuff is just so key, how he's talking about. So I do it throughout the day too. That's our mastery move of the week.
Can I ask a question here?
Yeah.
It feels like I'm missing something. Like this is the first class, right? I feel like I'm kind of walking into this halfway through, like in terms of micro.
Is that Satya?
Yeah.
Yeah, we already had some opening that you're going to have to get on the Yang medicine modality this week.
When did this start? I thought I was coming into the beginning of this.
I sent you emails for the medicine one on Wednesday, but don't worry, it's recorded. Also,
I just confused because I listened to that recording, but I didn't get the schematic. Maybe I missed.
The schematic is to go in the sun, and remember, there's a recording, there's a video recording, and there's an audio recording. The video recording is a lecture, the Yang Medicine and Energy Mastery Nights that we teach. That's to teach you the schematic. The first schematic, just to be clear, is breathing infinite yang energy, and I even say 5 times, because Satya, the purpose is to at least build your energy field up 5 times in 3 months. That's what I want to see. So it puts a physical result with this. So it's 5 times the yang energy you're at, but we call it infinite yang because it's an infinite energy. So you get in the sun, and there's precautions I talk about on the recordings to soak up that energy and power up, and then we'll start healing and doing all these other things with it too.
Okay, I think I just got confused. I think I missed the email or something. I haven't.
I'll thank you. I will send you a total follow-up after this class to just say this is step 1, step 2, but you're fine. All we need to do is get you on schematic 1 of breathing infinite, 5 times infinite yang energy in the sun. And if there's a recording to do it, we'll have you on the video training. It's pretty easy. No stressing out here. This is the first class of the bioenergetics. So these are like how we can apply that medicine into careers. So a lot of people on this right now are kind of interested in careers or how to heal deep things.
Yeah.
It's not about the yang medicine schematic. I'm glad you've asked this because this is actually a good turning point.
Okay, yeah, I was just a little confused because like micro adjustments is sort of out of context for me since I'm just now coming into it. You know what I mean?
Right. And when you get on the schematic, you start powering up 5 times infinite yang. That's step 1 or gear 1. We're going to learn gear 2 next week. So let's just get you on this week so you've already got gear 1 ready. Okay. And this is how we apply it into like careers and healing people and ourselves. The bioenergetics part. And I'll explain what that is now. Okay, so that's a catch up, and that's probably a good catch up for everybody too. A lot of people are just kind of cruising into the course right now. And it's not bad to review anyways. So the yang medicine and energy healing mastery, that's really about getting your 90 hours in the sun if you can. Golden hours with this schematic. There's about 5 gears to the schematic. We're learning schematic 1 right now. We're going to work with a whole different kind of energy type next week. So it's like you have your left foot and your right foot to do this. Now we're going to look at the bioenergetics types and how it works. So this is another branch. The yang medicine is the branch I've developed to basically heal all of these things that I studied with bioenergetics. And I'm going to give you a souped up yang medicine version. This is not the old school version. In fact, that's why I say before we even go further and explain bioenergetics, I want to myth bust black bioenergetics. Now I do want to ask you guys, please hit mute on your mics. Here we go. Bioenergetics, the new way. I learned so many complicated moves over 2 years, and you know, it just wasn't about mastery. And I don't think from pathwork to, well, I don't want to name too many of them, but there's a lot of them out there. And they're probably some of the best healing schools on the planet. But I'm not sure they teach you how to have real careers and how to provide major transformation. That's what we're going to do. You're in the nest to learn mastery. And then if you're interested in going out in your mission and carrying out a professional career, well, here's how to do it. And it doesn't even have to be healing. This stuff is going to be great for if you're into selling, I don't know, media packages or anything. Bioenergetics has helped me a lot with teamwork in business and executive teams. So we're going to learn a few moves comprehensively, not a million details that take forever and don't get you to mastery. You know, with energy medicine, a few moves can get you very far, very deep. We're going to talk about doing high ticket yang courses, not sessions and individual process work. I think individual sessions, which is like the only model that's been given to us, doesn't do the real work. People come in for a session 2 or 3, they process some of this stuff and they leave. I'm arguing a high ticket course of over 8 to 12 weeks that provides real laser surgery transformation. Another thing I want to argue with that bioenergetics, because it's all about treating these personality types and the process, is when you sell a high ticket course, it's not going to be about, it's not going to be about your process. Everyone's selling up their thing on their process. Oh, it's vortex healing, or it's this kind of thing. It's this. Give them a result, like, oh, heal depression in 12 weeks through this process, or, you know, get rid of this, you know, anxiety bust, like a real result through the program. And no one's doing this, but if you do, you can have a really successful career. And I would say solve one breakneck problem, like something pretty severe, people lifetime depression. Wow, you could do that with Yang medicine. That's a great program. So I'm going to teach how to do these high ticket like programs with the bioenergetics. All right, the new way of bioenergetics. I say specialize in something significant. Like there's someone coming on here, Leandrew, and he's talking about having like curing his fibromyalgia and offering a Yang medicine course for that, or making it much better. And that's specializing. That's a great high ticket offer. That's like being the laser surgeon for something that people really can't solve. And there's a lot of these through this medicine, like everything from depression, anxiety, core issues, gut issues, heart issues. Like there's a lot we can do. So if you find your specialization, that's pretty cool. And often it's the thing that you are the most troubled with that you help people with. Your breakneck problem becomes your mission solution. I say learn a couple simple ways to grow and to sell to your warm and cold networks. So I'll be teaching that down the road. Learn the art of a breakthrough call. You need to learn sales calls. They never taught me this in bioenergetics because if you don't get someone in, they don't transform. You're not committing major work. So I'm going to teach that down the road. We'll be doing bioenergetics for the first few weeks, and then we're going to do some shadow work and some things like that. But we'll eventually get into like, oh, here's how you can do a sales call if you want to learn. Here's how you do your high ticket course. And we'll do it super simple, just like this class. We don't need to take 2 days to explain this. We'll take like an hour and a half. Make high ticket course title something you can, I wanted to put create multiple things for. It could be your TED Talk. It could be your best-selling book. It could be like articles you could write, podcasts you talk about. Like I love it when the high ticket course sells you. It changes major lives. You can get a book at it. You can get a talk at it. But some people aren't into that. If you're into it, though, it's a great option to do that. In fact, I'm going to probably write a book called like Yang Medicine, The Return of the King for the modality I'm doing. And this is a great model to do that. You do high ticket courses. They pay for you to get on like foundation, to travel, to be a professional, to go on your enlightenment journey. And then later you have books and talking gigs and stuff like that if you're interested. Now, bioenergetics, the new way. Some people might want to just travel and heal and never be in the limelight. That's cool. Let's see, are there any bioenergetics the new way? We use the secret weapon, which is Yang medicine, the schematic and the format. This will heal most bioenergetic issues. So I'm kind of proud of saying we have a medicine for all of the stuff I studied years ago. You want to show the client how to heal themselves first and foremost, like teach a man or woman to fish, a god or goddess, make them the Jedi. Just having come in and doing healing stuff on them, probably not going to heal much. Is like 90 days of committing to the training. You could even certify them, you're the person that founds healing depression through Yang medicine. Great. And you do a certification course for teachers that want to heal others of depression. And then you become the authority. That could be cool. That's one thing I do with this program is certify people in Yang medicine if they do the 90 hours or do all the videos and complete that. And bioenergetics, if you do all these videos and pass a test and show me a video that you can do the chelation properly, the hands-on healing. We do it pretty simple here. Mastery over details. And so certification is kind of fun for people too and helps them. So if you're interested in a career in bioenergetics, those are things I would suggest. Now, you might not be. You might just be wanting to know these types for your own life, your own healing, for your businesses, for your friends. It's really great for relationships, bioenergetics. And you just recognize these types in people right away. So let's get into the basics of bioenergetics. And I have a little cheat sheet here since it's bioenergetics is a therapeutic approach that is designed to accelerate your personal evolution, bringing you home to your core highest self. And the process involves discovering the truth about your personality patterns. Oh, here we go. Bioenergetics goes beyond talk therapy. That's huge. in that it recognizes the physical body is essential to your personal evolution or growth process. Core work is based on the principle that your history and experience are crystallized in your body. Whatever difficulty you're having now in life relates back to unfinished business, which you still carry physically from early childhood. So that's kind of the big one philosophy for them, is sometime in your life, maybe you believe in past lives, maybe you believe in tons of past lives. That's fine too. But sometime previously, things happened and you shut down, your system shut down, trauma, things crystallized. For me, I had like a traumatic fall and energy shut down and this, and then family stuff, maybe shut down from a dad or a mom, youthful, like you'll see that these things, patterns, these frozen energies happen younger. And then we keep they almost see it like you're trapped in the same frozen energy pattern prison. And they have all these exercises and stuff to move that, but yang medicine also just burns it off and melts it up. So that's why it's like an accelerated way to deal with the problem that bioenergetics is discussing: frozen, drained, blocked energy. We're just going to use a more of a core model than even they do. And they say through the exercises, you're able to release the old feelings that are holding you back in life. The world becomes clearer, and suddenly you find it easier and easier to make new, more fulfilling choices. I think that's true, but we're also just going to power you up with like really great energy to blast through all these issues. Developed by Alexander Lowen. He's the big guy for bioenergetics. It was an extension of William Reich's vegetotherapy, which is a lot about like psychology and energy medicine. And maybe you've heard of these like Reichian chambers and things like that. Bioenergetic analysis, which utilizes several central personality types. That's the focus of today, is to get you a sense, just a feeling of these larger archetypal defense structure personality types, each consisting of a different body characteristic, defensive life gifts, and tasks. So, the essential philosophy of Alexander Lowen and bioenergetics is trauma happens to us, difficult situations, we freeze, we run, but we don't really, we don't fully connect. And then those emotions continue in patterns that don't serve us later in life, ongoing, often daily. All right. So these are the 5 bioenergetic personality types. They're all pretty tantalizing sounding, really, from the schizoid and creative. Maybe already you're resonating with those. Oops, it's a little misspelled. Schizoid is an I there. The schizoid creative, just feel these already, and we'll get into them deeper in this call and then much deeper in later calls and trainings. Oral lover, masochist finisher, psychopath defender, and the rigid and the organizer. These are our 5 types. Maybe some of these names resonate with you. Oh, I have that. Maybe some scare you. Oh, whoa. Could I deal with a client like that? That's cool too. I think once we go through this program, you're going to love each one of these types and appreciate the gifts and challenges that they each have, but especially the medicine to the secret weapon to lift it all. Now, one of the things that's very important to share, and it's like one of the first questions that most people ask: can you be more than one type? And I was thinking about this, putting the class together, that I don't know anybody that's not more than one type. We usually have a stronger primary. Sometimes there's a couple. I know for me, my schizoid and masochist can be very strong, followed by maybe psychopath and some oral and rigid. Others, your oral lover might be up pretty high, and these things. But yes, you are a multiplicity of this. And yet, when you have people coming to you, especially when on your breakthrough calls or your high course ticket is related to one of these, you will see these things come through. Like people on this course, I knew they were masochists because they were having real time to work problems. Working hard, doing the late hours, but kind of exhausted, getting it done, but not having fun. I knew there were orals on this call because of addiction stuff, codependency stuff. I knew the schizoids because of depression issues, fear, anxiety. Rigids because of blocked hearts. Psychopaths because of even more blocked armor, puffed up. So, and you start learning these, and I want you to learn more the metaphor than all the details. Now we come up with what blocks a chakra. Before we get into the different types, what causes a block? Well, here's some common ones, and I'm sure we could add more. Childhood traumas, cultural conditioning, limited belief systems, restrictive or exhaustive habits, physical and emotional injuries, or even just a lack of attention can contribute it. You're not paying attention to your love life, your wisdom, your career, what makes you happy. Difficulties abound in life, and for each one, we develop a coping strategy. And those coping strategies, those defense energetic systems, are the 5 personality types we're going to work with. Now, does anyone want to throw down some other blocks or thoughts on that? I thought, Joshua, maybe you want to jump in here. Maybe there's a question.
I think you're doing great.
Paula, do you have anything to say before we go forward into the defense structures?
I'm just listening right now.
Okay, it's a little different how we're teaching it though, right? Not the individual sessions, but the high ticket courses.
Yes, this is different.
Yeah, no one ever taught me this. This is taking more of like professional entrepreneurship and the latest leading edge in that and applying it to energy medicine so we can have real careers.
Yeah, I think it's great. I'm really interested in learning it from this angle.
I think you would be an ace for a high ticket course. We'll need to figure it out. And anyone that wants, that's what I'm doing here is over the next 3 months, we'll be developing high ticket courses for people who want them and show you how to execute.
I have a question, actually.
Yeah.
Is there any affiliation, or what would you say, a categorization of which bioenergetic body types correspond with organs, or which organs are affected in negative ways, and which organs are not, anything like that?
Yeah. They will put it more in the chakra system. I'm glad you said that because we'll go through that. Yeah, definitely body types. We'll go into that. Chakra problems for sure, like energy center issues, posture issues, all of that. The types relate to it. Organs, you kind of got to look what organs near that problem. All right. So if you're a third chakra person, you're probably if you have a depleted third chakra, you're going to be a masochist, most likely. Maybe a little schizoid. And that's going to tell me your adrenal. If you're a masochist, your adrenals are probably shot. That's near the core center. Probably having gut issues.
Yeah.
If you're a psychopath, your brain's probably like really overstressed. So you probably have pineal brain stuff. Your heart's probably congested, so you're going to have a heart problem. Your chest is probably needs to relax. All of these things, Joshua. It's a great question.
Cool.
Now, the streams of bioenergetics, there's a lot of them. Core energetics, path work, Barbara and Brennan, Mind Connecticut Healing Institute. So you're in a rich tradition. We're just going to do an upgraded version of this. And you're going to learn everything they learn, except maybe a higher upgraded version and a little less of the details. All right, so character armor. Bioenergetic coping strategies and their chronic holding patterns lodged in the posture and tissues of the body. And I saw that through energy first, powering up, yang, lighting it, melting it, which they didn't really teach me in school. Character armor typically develops from difficulties during developmental stages, which we'll get into some with this. I think they can get a little overboard, and this happened exactly at this stage. Because really the most important thing you could know is what someone's type is and how to heal it. So now we get into the 5 bioenergetic types. So the schizoid, it's actually the schizoid creative. So maybe we'll go to the next image. Well, we'll just stick here. That's Emily Dickinson. Emily Dickens. I always mix up. Charles Dickens, Emily Dickinson. Yeah. Well, anyway, she's kind of the perfect example of a schizoid. She's very creative, touched with spirituality and God, but can barely leave her house. Terrified a little bit, asocial, maybe even depressive. Sylvia Plath would actually be a great example of a schizoid, really kind of going at the edge. Male figures, Andy Warhol would be a schizoid, very spiritual, but kind of almost like leaving this planet, the schizoid creative. And you can kind of see what level they would be at from 0 to 90% or 95. 95%'s mastery. So like a schizoid master might be someone like, I don't know, Mick Jagger, a real creative guy that's just shining light and doing his creative genius on the world. Or let's give a woman example of this here. Oh, like Bjork. She's pretty talented, probably pretty healed schizoid slash creative. And like 30% people, they're going to be depressed, these kind of things. But let's get into it. Josh was asking about the body types. They have elongated frames. The Abraham Lincoln type is the classic, like that's who they always mention if you're going to hear a schizoid. Tall, detached, kind of in their brain, long limbs, pale, like looks like they're connected to spirit, not getting any sun, thin wrists and ankles. Body has asymmetrical or unbalanced look. They're usually disjointed. There's energy leaks all over. Eyes have a far away look, and this is when they're in a kind of terrorized or low energy field state, which schizoids can have years of that, like years of barely leaving the house. I have a lot of calls with people like that. Now, Alexander Lohan named this structure the schizoid because of its characteristic split between mind and body, resulting from first chakra alienation. Like they'll say that the schizoids really aren't grounded. And I think that's true. I would also say they're having huge second and third chakra core issues. People with this structure are highly creative and intelligent with overdeveloped upper chakras. They're often using their minds for everything, intellect to answer and evade. So we got to get them more into their power, into their heart, into their, maybe even like their sex drive, their mojo, strength. Their issues center around the right to exist. I don't belong here. This earth is too intense. Why am I here? They might see the universe as a hostile place. But it really comes around this right to just exist and be and kick some ass on this planet. Their defense system says, I expect hostility. Life is painful. Like I said, this threatening view of the universe. Often they'll have past lives experiences or feelings of that, of being terrorized, witch at the stake kind of thing. Often they'll be like, they're a little bit condescending. And trust me, my schizoid creative first and foremost. They'll be like, I'm above it all. I'm too good for this. I'll reject it before it happens. And this stems from often like being an unwanted child or being born into a hostile environment, difficult challenges very early in childhood that don't help us ground and be here. I mean, I'm a perfect example in the sense that the umbilical cord was wrapped around my neck, so I barely even came out breathing. Some of you may have had traumatic birth experiences or, uprooting or these things at very young ages. They can all affect the schizoid. I think abusive families can create schizoids. You're scared, you're hiding. But in all senses, I would say they're all just strained. But first chakra issues for sure for the schizoid. That's what people say. Their life task, this is what Bioenergetics says, is to pull it all together, become present in their life. I think their life task is to power up, juice up, get full, turn their core energetics up to 90% instead of 20, They're very creative. They make great artists, musicians, channels, and fabulous energy healers. Tons of people come to me like crawling out of the bed, schizoid, can barely get up in the day. And when they power up, they become some of the most powerful healers out there. So that's the schizoid. Do we have some questions? Are you Yeah.
I want to share just an intuition about that. I just get a sense that body type has a a lot of guilt for taking up space.
Guilt for taking up space too. I don't belong here. I don't have a right to exist. My. And since they're in their head there a lot, they can really go into drama spaces for a long time around that stuff. Now, the king of guilt and humiliation is definitely the masochist, but absolutely the schizoid. Now, someone's eating like
we're listening to someone eating. Maybe
whoever's eating their cereal right now, please mute yourself. Cereal eater. Breakfast. It's breakfast time for the schizoids. You know, get them on a power diet, get them in the sun. You know.
Sorry.
It's Paula. Paula, you've been through this training. Have you had any new thoughts on the schizoid or seeing it in your own life in some way?
No new thoughts right now.
Just cereal. All right.
Yeah, sorry. I'll be more. I'm sort of just like a little zoned out, but I'm zoning in.
Please just hit mute. I thought this might relate with a couple people on the call. I won't call out names, but just if you're a little skittish, little hide out sometimes from people. They really need their sovereignty to feel their power, to be the goddess they are. And that's where yang medicine is just a real miracle. I don't do individual sessions with schizoids anymore. I get them on a program. I actually heal them. Let's do laser surgery and Jedi training over 3 months instead of like you come in the office 3 times and it's okay. Now, schizoid high ticket course issues, different types of emotional issues are really great for them. So, you know, any program that's just vastly heals depression would be an extreme result. Hey, in 12 weeks, go from feeling depression like 90% of the time to almost having it alleviated. You know, you'll have to give them some tough love on the call and make them realize what the situation's like, but that's a real game changer, going from one life to the next. So if you've suffered from things like depression, that's a great one to kick some butt on this master course. And then maybe at the end of the other side, you teach it. Anxiety, that's a huge one for people with schizoid. Gosh, what if they could alleviate those panic attacks and just wipe out hours, days, months of their years? I've seen, I think a lot of autoimmune stuff is kind of schizoid. You know, it's eating it at itself, disappearing. So I really even think things like cancer, young medicine would be really good. If that's something, an issue you're working with, maybe check it out. You got something autoimmune, see how the medicine works. Maybe you develop a course around that with extreme significance since no one's healing it. I see things like even alien courses, like psychic people. Once they come through, they can train other people to be very powerful, like psychics. This is a good visionary mind. They might end up doing Star Hawk or witchy, like healing artistic courses for people that radically change them. There's all sorts of options for high ticket courses with this. And I welcome you to unmute and share some now. And like I said, there's just different energy levels. If they're at a 5%, they're going to need to get a lot of sun and this, if it's a depression thing, or you're helping people overcome terror or shyness, or even teaching people like how to overcome fear, get in their core power and do public speaking. You could have a high ticket course for that and get people to 90% levels. So those are some high ticket schizoid healings that you could do. And you could see like how they would just be total life game changers for people. And doing the high ticket course supports both the healer and the client, so you both have major transformation. Another great thing about doing courses, it makes you get on your own program. The oral lover. Well, I often think of Paula when I think about this one. I think she's less of a schizoid like me, and she's more of the oral, the lover. Paula has a little more fun in life. She gets a little more wild than even I do. You know, she's like a magical child. And they're very magical. They're very playful. They're like dolphins. And, you know, like the lovers, they can also, the oral has codependency things. Addiction is a big oral one. So let's get into it. The body type of an oral Oh, and I wanted to say one last thing for the body type of a schizoid that I've discovered. People often say it's always Abraham Lincoln type. Well, I think Emily Dickinson type is good. I notice like kind of pixie type happens a lot, like pixie guy, pixie girl, very pale. Vampire looking would be a good schizoid look, just so you recognize them. You don't need to know every detail. You need to be able to recognize the energetic structure. So the oral and the lover, number 2, their eyes sparkle. They have a vivacious quality about them. Sometimes they're smaller frame. That's what they say. But I see orals often being a little plump too. They love some wine. They love some olives. They maybe hit that chocolate a little bit extra, or the wine, the alcohol. I put Bacchus here as an example. You can have the nice side of Bacchus. In many ways, I think our culture is way too Apollonian, way too serious, puritanical. But also you need that balance. The oral's usually looking for that balance and some accountability in their own sovereignty. They'll often have many health problems, gut, throat. Their energy system for the oral, it results from a deprivation in nurturing and nourishment stage of dependence, according to bioenergetics, relating to chakras 1 and 2. So we'll often have deficiencies there, or even sometimes overpowered. I don't believe in an overpowered chakra. They do. I don't. Just deficiency. Since oral types are strongly oriented toward emotional merging and giving, they are also referred to as the lovers. Their defense system, it says nothing is ever good enough. I will always be overwhelmed and disappointed. They tend to complain a lot. Stems from not getting the nourishment they need. They'll kind of have a feeding quality. Their attention, during the feeding attention holding phase of 16 to 18 months. So the theory on this is they didn't get the nourishing, and then they reach for it everywhere else except filling up their energy body. So you get things like addictive behavior a lot, codependency a lot with this one. So if you hear addiction and codependency come up, you're pretty much knowing you're having an oral. If you're feeling your energy getting sucked, that might be an energy, that's an oral. And they're actually the best hosts, the best, most generous people of all time when they're powered up. It's always that thing of like your negative is the positive when you turn it up. All right. Their life task is to stop seeing the world as a half-empty glass. Still need more. Recognize your abundance and be generous, whether it is with your time, your money, or sensitivity. Their gifts, they're sensitive, they're generous, they're intelligent, they're great teachers, performers, magical, great sense of humor. I think mostly they just got to power up and become their own sovereign beings. I always say with the oral, get addicted and fall in love with the sun. I can't figure out every addiction issue. Addiction's a weird thing, but we can provide the answer for it. Just get addicted to yang medicine in the sun and see it burn out.
I have a question.
Yes.
I'm curious if you've heard anything or experienced anything about different body types being compatible friends, lovers, workers.
Well, would you mind if I answer that great question from a bioenergetic standpoint?
However it works for you.
This is how I learned it, and I find it to be generally true, and we've learned the types. This is a great time to review them. This is how Barry Gordon, my mentor, taught it. The oral goes with the rigid because they have a lot to learn from each other. The rigid teaches accountability, structure, stability, foundation, money, wealth. The oral teaches magic, fun, spontaneousness, thrills, adventure. The masochist goes with the psychopath, and they can teach each other, like they could have a nice submissive dominant, like dominating relationship where they come into balance and have a lot of fun. Often there'll be problems with both. The psychopath and the masochist will have conflict in the oral, and the rigid will. But through that alchemy, you get a real magic and a growing. And do you know who the schizoid goes with? If the oral goes with the rigid, and the psychopath goes with the masochist, which makes sense. They're energetically attracting the opposites to learn. Josh, do you have any idea who the schizoid goes with?
Another schizoid?
I think that's a great answer. God. oral with the rigid, schizoid with the masochist, and I mean, psychopath with the masochist, and the schizoid goes with God, and those are our relationship dualities that often happen, but not necessarily true.
Nice, thank you.
Great question. If anyone else has a question, please unmute, and I'll answer it. Just speak up. Oral high ticket sales, breakneck issues. I would say addiction, addiction, addiction. It's such a huge industry and it's so not working, and people go back and they get on medications, all this crazy stuff. It doesn't really even work. So any addictive issue you have, if you wanted to create a high ticket course on the other end and show the extreme value of being on one side of the portal and the other, I think you do very well. So that's just a huge industry open. Codependency, huge one too. Like, and maybe relationship coaches and stuff could have really great oral tickets. Like, in a way, my girlfriend does. She does high ticket courses for women using tantric power energy practices to find the love of their lives. I would say that's a Venus oral high ticket. And that's probably more for someone revving at 90% or wanting to get there. All right. Any ideas on the oral? Anything people want to share? Paula, since I called you out, maybe you could share if you resonate with the oral or any experiences that would, benefit us as a group.
I can share as my experience as an oral. It's just a little loud where I am, where I'm camped. They started the music. Can you hear me?
We totally can hear you, Paula. What do you got?
It's something about the giving and giving until you get depleted is something that is a struggle for me. And then also struggle with addiction, just too much of a good thing, kind of being so just so into everything that you just kind of have a hard time with responsibilities and with just kind of getting carried away, and discipline just being something that, is something that is huge for me. And as far as things that I need to work on in my life.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. That is such a helpful description. Getting carried away, nights that it get a little wild, and as a schizoid, I sometimes look at you a little jealous. Schizoids will often look at the orals as if they have superpowers, because they're very social, but that giving and giving until they're just drained, but maybe you start draining everyone else too. That is a classic oral. Make sure you turn on your mute button, guys. If you're not speaking up here, there's a tapper. And thank you, Paula. That's the oral. So, and there's some breakneck issues. And you can see Paula, I know she called me up because she wanted a little extra accountability. In fact, my oral did too. And I knew as we came together as a team, there'd be no excuses for mastery. So I know that's why she's on this course, and I know she's getting addicted to the sun, and she's learning the schematic, and she's showing up for results. And at the end of this, I don't see why she couldn't have a high ticket course of her own for whatever oral issue she might have. All right, the masochist. I thought this was a perfect image. I was looking for a Matrix-like situation, like Neo stuck in mediocre land. Masochist, all of these, anything 85% or under is you're going to have a destroyed core. You're going to need to bring it up drastically. And the masochist is definitely living under 90%. Sorry, just finding my notes here. Oops, my bioenergetic notes have disappeared. Well, I'm just going to riff. The masochist is you're going to hear they work a lot. The body types is it can be a little chubby. Usually there's some spinal issues going on with the back. They can be skinny too. There's usually not a great uplifted spine. The chest isn't sitting tall and pretty. The core is shut down. There's a very gray feeling. They can suffer from a real sense of mediocrity. Depression strikes a lot here. Overwhelm. If you hear the word overwhelm, it's either going to be probably oral or masochist, maybe schizoid. People on this program, I knew you were suffering from masochism because you were talking about how hard you worked in your back. Me too. Man, I worked way too hard for way too many years. And yang medicine is great for this. You can rejuvenate that whole back and posture, your whole attitude that's been sitting there, sitting at a chair, kind of dying, the energy system. They're also called the endurer type. They get shit done. In fact, I think back to my work in web magazines and movement building. And if we didn't have some endurers, I actually like to call them the finisher on their positive side, because they get projects done. And I've seen this, man, without a good finisher, you don't get a movie done. You don't get a book done. You don't get businesses done. They're actually great business people when they power up. When they don't, they're a little bit victim. They're doing data entry and they're under the boss's orders. Often they have a time to money issue. A lot of their time is spent making like, $20 an hour, 15, or, not what they're worth. You'll hear that a lot. You'll hear a lot about brain confusion, mind confusion. This can be complaining too with the masochist, the finisher. But man, I love a good finisher when there's a project to be done. And I have a lot of this. And Americans are pretty good finishers. Masochism, I would say, affects about 85% of the population. I used to write a bunch of articles about that. Let's see. Okay, masochist courses. What would be a course for a masochist? I'd say anything with power, anything about making money, being on your mission, peak performance. Like Joshua here, he has a great program for masochists. He's talking about doing like this expandibus model in its peak performance through pot and yang medicine, or his version, or yang power and willpower. That is a huge masochist like mover to me. So if he did a 8 to 12 week course, powered him up, I think that would be a good one. Yeah. Any other course ideas, guys? Real things about empowerment, public speaking, shining, even just getting your core power up. This is a deficient third chakra, and guarantee that also the others are going to be deficient. And once again, we heal through yang medicine. We power them up. This is probably one of the first. It's like, yeah, they just need to power up.
I'm curious if you are speaking to their, like, let's say that their core wound, like, I'm just guessing, core wound of a masochist body type is going to be, something along the lines of, I'm not good enough, I don't deserve happiness, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And curious if a course for them would be speaking to that core wound, or assuming that they don't realize that they have that core wound.
Oh man, a lot of your calls are going to make people realize how deep their wounds really are, and no more band-aids. Like, the most powerful process work call you have is the breakthrough call. That's the only time I really do process work like that anymore, because they got to see where they're really at.
I just mean in the marketing of it, though.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I'm getting there. Joshua, you're unique. I think in some ways you're a little bit like me. You're spreading your wings a little wide, which has its pros and its cons. I generally recommend one issue that's so niche and so like, oh my God, I would easily drop $5,000 to get that out, to go through that portal. So like, someone coming on the course wants to heal fibromyalgia. Well, geez, someone that can really do that in an effective way, that's a powerful laser surgeon offering. I like laser surgeon offerings. Oh, you go from, and you articulate in a very interesting result-oriented way. Go from depression through your life to this, and be effective in all aspects of your work and life. But your model with Expandibus could be all things. And that's a little bit like my program. I'm teaching yang medicine. We're healing depression in any vibrational density. So that's kind of my thing. It's like, if you have a vibrational density, let's go into the depth of that and see it. And then we'll heal that. But some people just want to do peak medicine courses. So for you, you might double load it. Just to answer your question for like, if it's Expandibus, you could do like, you could certify them. You could heal really deep stuff. But yours might be more around pod and peak performance, and a masochist is just a type that gets in your program. You know what I mean? Others might be taking the central issue from a masochist and making that the program.
Gotcha.
But I think things like power, wealth, money, mission are huge. Especially you were talking about working with men. They love that shit. You know,
Right.
you Jedi up their energy field, and then you can teach all of it. But one thing, like there was one person that's thinking about doing like wealth healing, and I think that would do extraordinarily well. Masochists across the world need it badly. They need to get out of the matrix and get up to 90, 95%. Yeah, I really recommend specific, Joshua, but I have a feeling you might go more broad. I even thought the Warriors discipline, like uh, that would be a good course title for you too.
Yeah. I'll talk with you more about it afterward.
Yeah, or you could do the throwdown. We're gonna have one throwdown before you quit here. The
Okay.
psychopath defender model. So here is our another type. The psychopath is, let me see if I can get my notes back up. They just kind of disappeared. Just having a slight cursor issue. Perfect. And when you do your courses, I promise you guys are gonna, you have to learn how to power through the tech issues a little bit. It's just part of the game. Okay, the psychopath. It's funny, they call it here the driving personality, but I've always heard of it as the defender. And there are slight deviations, like some people talk about a narcissist type. We don't have that in this tradition. It would probably go more into the psychopath. We have 5 types in ours. Okay. Hey. Just a moment here, guys. Here we go. All right. This type is they have an athletic build. Chest or hips often looks inflated compared to the rest of the body. They're usually really tense and armored up around the chest, guys. Like in their head is like they're almost ready to strike. Eyes often piercing or controlling. Their energy system, the psychopathic structure, is also developmentally related to the 3rd chakra. So the masochist had a depleted 3rd chakra. These guys, they say it's excessive. I just think their 3rd chakra is on hyperdrive and the heart's closed. And they're overcompensating in head and all these things. This type is oriented toward power over. That's their big thing, power over. Challenger defender type, as they defend the meek and challenge the strong. And that can be worked wonders. Like in its negative, you know, it's like Hitler causing waste across the planet. And in its positive, it's like Gandhi kicking some butt with the British military. Martin Luther King. I think great, like Ellen, she's a great psychopath media defender, you know? It can be transformed to quiet glory in mission. You know, everyone that wants to do a mission, have a program out and kick some butt, probably needs a little psychopath defender. And you'll always hear these bioenergetic people, they love this type. They always want to be more of it. I think it's because they need more power, generally speaking. Their holding pattern brings energy upward in the body, especially to the neck and shoulders. They hold a lot there. They almost do this like scorpion strike sometimes, where they can just hit you with energy through the eyes. And this, you know, all these types have a way of kind of interacting. And we'll get more into that when we get specifically into these. Today is just an overview. If all you remember is the 5 types, we're good. The defense says they're never good enough. They need to be special. I am only as good as my achievements.
Could I ask a question here?
Yes, please.
I was just wondering if everyone in this class is like some sort of bioenergetics professional, or if this is their chosen profession.
Well, I think
less?
I'm the only one here.
I
okay. think we're just learning bioenergetics as kind of like a riff off doing your courses, but I think you'll see it'll help you in your life, especially when we talk about how to work with these types. You will deal with these, like my mom's a psychopath, my dad's a masochist.
Got you.
You know, it's meant to be a life Jedi move for you. You never have to do anything with bioenergetics if you want.
I mean, I feel like I could benefit from, but I don't have any practice with bioenergetics. I don't have any experience with this. A lot of this information you're sharing, I can see the value of it, but I mean, I could find this easily on the internet, you know, somewhere else.
Sure, man.
So, I mean, I don't mean that in any sort of criticism. I'm just curious if I'm in the right place or not, because
Well,
like,
Satya, I think you need to come to the Wednesday call, and
okay,
you're going to get on this program that you really want.
okay,
You know, I think you are a guy looking to create his mission.
definitely.
And, you know, maybe you're a little resistant to this right now because we actually need to get your energy filled up and get you in the modality and get you shining like a sun.
Yeah.
But you are a guy that wants to transition from his last job.
Mhm.
And if you want to do this, this is how I'm teaching how to do it. You know, the one-on-one sessions don't create careers and families. They don't create professional abundance. If you want to learn that, great. But honestly, this Saturday course for you, if it's not vibing and you don't want to learn it or you want to learn it later, great. Do the Wednesday, do the Yang energy medicine and mastery.
Yeah.
But get in the sun and show me about the results. Because then it's about the experiential stuff that I think you're really craving right now. You could always go back to this stuff later and be like, oh, you know, I'm ready to
Yeah.
start my course in my life as a career. Let me go back to that stuff. That's why we record it. I think you're a guy that needs the mastery training. So I'm
Yeah.
going
I
to
mean,
send that to you
I'm,
after this course.
yeah, please do, because I don't think I've received that. I've gotten, we could talk about this after. I don't mean to interrupt the course discussing my own.
I appreciate that. Let's talk about it after. We can even have a little call sometime. But
Yeah, but I'm just like this data is like I'm craving like experiential information that really will propel me to my next level rather than just like data about different personality types. I'm sure it's valuable.
dude, I hear you. This is
Yeah.
why I created this program. The program I did was 2 years of this. I'm taking literally 2 years and putting it into a very streamlined, probably we're going to just cover some of it in 6 weeks, 5 weeks. You don't have to do this. You don't have to be on these, but you want the experiential, you got to do the Yang medicine. That's what this is, a supportive thing. Like, I think when you're ready for your career, you're going to be paying special attention to this. You're going to be like, oh my God, Johnny, I see what you're saying. Like,
Got you.
I can travel the world and be like, literally, I want to set up your enlightenment journey if you want. So a lot of people, they don't want to do day jobs anymore. They're looking for an upgrade or to share their light with the world.
Yeah.
And so I'm teaching that. Okay, so I got to get you on the Yang medicine schematic.
Yeah.
You've missed a couple emails I sent you. I'm going to resend you them and make sure you got them. And maybe we
Okay.
have a little connect call, but I do need to get back to teaching this program here
Sure.
because we're recording this for the future generations too.
Yes, I got you.
So for them, you know, high ticket courses, honestly, I think Josh will have a lot of psychopaths that want to do like cool things with their career and take it to the next level. If you have a psychopath at an energy level at 90, 95, their energy is high up, their heart's open, and they're ready to go. So they could, you know, the high ticket courses could be a lot of peak performers with these guys. A lot of them, it's like they're working too hard and they need to get back to their families, or they can't have any relationships because they're too like obsessed with everything and they finally want to be human. That's all fine. A lot of things around stress, man. People are dying of stress. And Yang medicine is like a major cure for like the disease of diseases of civilization, which is stress. Do we have any questions on the psychopath?
I'm curious if we can inherit someone else's sort of energy, bioenergetic schematic later in life in some way, or if it's only appears in us, you know, ages 0 through 5 or whatever.
Oh my God. I think you inherit it too. I honestly, I think a lot of people on this program are doing very deep ancestral healings. Like the line stops here. The divine energy line begins here. The new family legacy, the masochism dies, the schizoid, you know, all of that goes into light. And
Well,
yeah,
maybe I'll tell you the reason. The reason I'm asking is because I met my stepbrother at age 7, and psychopath seems like his type, and I feel like I inherited that, like as an overlay over my natural body type. Would that be possible?
oh yeah, totally. I think you're onto it, Josh. You seem to have an intuitive idea of how this stuff flows. you know, wherever if you can inherit it, like think of all the addiction stuff people inherit, you know, depression. But most of it, I would say, like, and this is my weirdest concept of all, is, and this is where the yang medicine comes in, you know, it's not just like, get me on the medicine, get me on the medicine. I agree. All families that are experiencing a lot of this stuff are usually drained and have been for generations, whether it's abuse, addiction, depressions. Like I even think a lot of hereditary diseases, I would say low energy. And that's why we get them on this medicine. These are just kind of forms to work with that. Now, let's get to the rigid organizer here, and then we'll close up these ones. I see they're also called the analytical type, but they're the organizer. The shape is harmonious, symmetrical, balanced. It's often very stiff. Muscles can be stiffed. I think they often can be dehydrated. I think like marketing people, politicians tend to be very like this. So they can be very results oriented. Obama is probably one of the great rigids of our time. And in some ways it's wonderful. It lets him be a great leader, organizer, but it also hurts him because some of his speeches fall a little flat for people, you know, and then he'll nail one with emotion. It'll be like, oh, that's the Obama, you know? So, you know, I put Nancy and Ron and Nancy Reagan. They're pretty good examples of this too. You know, they're rigid, but they also accomplished a lot, you know, whether you're on their side or not. So the energy system, usually they're wounded at the heart, the fourth chakra, by lack of approval. This type tends to focus their energy on achievement. They achieve, achieve, achieve. They are functional, but often afraid of relationships, commitments, and feelings of intimacy. They'll have a perfect closet, but they're not connecting with people. They'll have a perfectly structured day, but they're feeling robotic. Their defense system says, I'm proud, I must be appropriate, do the right thing, organize, positive, and not deny all that is the negative. It stems from feeling of being rejected by opposite sex parents when you give up on feeling love for 6 to 7 years. You know, so their life task is to have feelings, open their heart, have sexual feelings, be successful. They can be intellectual, ordered, but they also have to be alive, a wildness. You know, yang medicine is just medicine for them because it brings in the play. It brings you like a kid again. You're joyful, you're young. It brings in the magical child. A lot of people, if they're opening up creativity, you could do a high ticket sale. I help rigids through books, make master books through high ticket sales. But really this stuff would be feeling robotic. Robot. Like I need to open up. I need to feel my intimate feelings. Those are constant things for the rigid. And the answer for all of this is yang medicine. I learned this for 2 years, this, that, and like get them on the yang medicine program, they will power up and it will heal every bioenergetic defense structure they're talking about. That's why I love this stuff. Now, once again, this is gonna be our strategy. Why don't we just take a little, does it sound good if we take a 1-minute break, guys?
Sure.
Yep.
Okay, let's take like a 1-minute break and I'll be back because I'm gonna keep the recording going. Okay, we're back.
You just unmuted everybody.
Whoops. Can everyone mute themselves? Okay, guys. So over the course of this time, we'll learn some about the 5 types, but it's going to be quick. We're going to learn shadow stuff like you've never learned. We're going to learn hands-on healing move. I only want you to learn one hands-on healing modality, and from that, we're going to do everything. From past life healing to astral healing to cancer healing to hormone healing. All of that can be done through one modality. Today, we're going to learn the first move. Now, first, though, I want to talk about high-ticket course strategy for anyone that's interested in having a career in being a professional healer or a professional entrepreneur, professional artist. You can do a lot of things with this strategy. Now, the first thing is you need to define your breakneck problem, which we started looking at. And maybe it's your own. Oh my God, depression for years. Oh my God, this addiction for years. I'll help people now go through the end because I did 90 days of mastery. I did 90 days on the mountain. You create a breakneck solution program like we are, 8 to 12 weeks based on results. I make mine 12. Most people recommend 8 to 10, but I just need everyone to like really juice up on the mountain with the sun. I don't think they realize it takes some time. You got to become your own master. You've been having issues for 10 years and you're looking to solve them in one day. You know, I need 90 days for them to get up there. Learn the art of breakthrough calls. We'll have to do that. Although I think this, I apologize, this it's just going all crazy. I say name that program something you can build a professional career on. Could it be your book? Could it be your TED Talk? Could it be your podcast, like that you do interviews for, articles you can write? One program that really launches you, that's fun. And then it's scalable. Learn to create and promote to warm and cold networks. I'll be teaching that too. This might not be exciting for Satya. He might just have to do the Wednesday nights and get on the mountain for a while. But for some of you who want to have clients, this will be exciting. Now, the high ticket course strategy, you learn the call. You have to learn the art of the breakthrough call. Create your course format, which is like this course. You record the video trainings because your time is going to be super precious on your enlightenment journey. You'll record your trainings once, and then afterwards you could do Facebook Q&As for people that come on the course afterwards. I'm not going to be repeating this course again and again. So the benefit you guys are all getting is like the elite ones starting out is this is the only live time I'll be doing that, because afterwards I got books I need to write and all sorts of other things too. And I want to keep getting people the medicine. Your mission journey is heal, provoke, travel, enjoy enlightenment. You know, if you want to do those things, I will help you do that on these Saturdays. Show up and we'll work on your program here. And others will benefit vastly who want to do that too. They're sick of the old model. They're sick of struggling. They're sick of working with one client and then they don't. This will give you client generation and high ticket sales. That's how it's armed for. Now, I thought we'd do a high ticket throwdown. What's your extreme result offering? Joshua, you might be the guy to ask. Do you have an offering you're thinking about for Expandabiz?
Yeah, actually, I just announced on Facebook, sort of pre-launch. What would you call it? Reaching my tentacles out there to see if anybody has some interest, and I had like 4 people say, "Oh, it sounds interesting. I'd like to know more."
What's the name of the program?
The suggestion so far where it's at is called the Father Field.
Give me more. What's the peak problem you're solving?
Developing the inner father through cannabis, which is normally people get normally stuck on the mother. So normally they don't bring forth the yang, and this is kind of taking it to the next level.
I see that. I would maybe make an argument with you.
I'm
Like
sure you would.
I could see something about be the best dad ever in through cannabis, something like that. And it's about training dads how to be the most powerful they could be and overcome these problems. And you could write their main problems and how this program gets them to that next level. I think that would work.
Well, just to clarify, this is for the inner father. So it's for women, it's for men, it's for anybody who wants to develop their reliability and their ability to show up in the world.
What's the result?
That reliability and clarity.
See, but that's kind of like we need more specifics. We'll work on this. But I honestly think your program could be Expandibus, Achieve Peak Performance Through Cannabis. And it's a program for men or for all if you're doing that. And it's how to reach those states. And then you could talk about the problems people are having, users, and then the benefits.
Yeah, and actually part of my personal motivation is being able to get some data from a program to be able to have more to put in the book. And then I was thinking of doing the one you just described after the book was released.
Totally. I would just say the one for the father is like being a little more specific about the extreme results you get. What's the major transformation from A to B?
Sure. Yeah, it's kind of it's in my Facebook post too, so I'll show you that and see what you think.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Own your inner father and take control of your life and your career and this or something. I don't have it. But definitely Expandibus achieve peak performance through pod in that modality. I think that would do very well. Like I would support people would do that course.
Totally. Yeah.
All right, Paula, I'm curious if you have a course idea already.
Unmute. Okay. Hi, how's it going? Greetings from sunny Arizona. A course. I haven't really thought it through yet, but I do definitely want to teach something. I liked what we had taught about people being in their happiest selves, learning how to let loose more, that kind of thing, enjoy their lives more, something like that. Yeah, and you had talked about shyness, maybe getting over being shyness, enjoying themselves more, that kind of thing. But it's not really very thought through yet. Just kind of like that. I'd like to have a podcast. I think it'd be really fun to have a podcast.
I love it. I would just say name your high ticket course something that would work your podcast with your podcast. Maybe it's the thing. I also think if you wanted to do something about embracing all that joy as you let go of addiction could be good too.
Yeah, that would be really good. Yeah, getting past depression and overcoming addiction. If I could really, really help people with that, that would be amazing.
I mean, just look at the cost of alcoholism. Whoa. But I get the feeling, Paula, we just need you to get on Mastery Mountain for a while. You're going to learn this, but we want you on the schematic, almost like Satya. Satya just needs to feel the magic and juice up and get the power and do the schematic. But I think over time, we'll find by the end of this course what your course is. And yes, I think addiction, once again, that's a breakneck problem.
Yeah, that would be amazing. That would be really great.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Thank you. I would encourage Joshua to think about his breakneck problem a little bit, but we'll get into more of that later. This is an overview today. So the one master healing move I want to show you guys it's so simple. We were going to do the chelation and it's a million moves, but it's like learning all these kung fu moves when we haven't even practiced the most important one. Okay, how do I spotlight share? Hmm. Well, I want to show my window, but you know, I'm not sure how. So all I want you guys to do, we learned micro adjustments. In this course, we will learn the chelation, which I think is the most baddest ass hands-on healing modality out there for working on clients. But before we do that, I want to, one, teach you schematic 2 coming up this week. It's a whole new energy structure, a whole new gear shift for how to work with this stuff. It's complete change from infinite yang. And until then, while people are getting in the sun, while they're juicing up, while they're powering up and learning how to work with light, I want you to practice this one move that I actually wasn't going to teach you for a couple of weeks. It's so simple, but this is called mastery. It's not called try to do a lot of details. So I just want you to take your 2 hands, put them on your heart, and you can just start feeling the energy. I like to do it a little above the top of the heart, like at the thymus. That's a big healing center. Most people say you actually heal through the heart. And you start working your hands in your subconscious to move energy. If you just start healing it and blasting energy in and feeling, you'll probably feel some big results. I do this before bed. I like to do it on niacin. Take a little niacin sometimes, it gets your energy up, but I'll do it without. I've seen so many past lives come in this way. I've healed so many stuff in my body, so many things I needed to connect with and ideas by just putting my hands on my heart and moving energy. And I just want you to learn how to do that yourself. Like you could do little figure 8s with energy where you push the energy in front of you, in through your hands and back through a looping form. I'll gently tickle the energy in. I can move the energy down through my heart and into my pelvis, into my feet. This is one mastery move that I want you to practice before bed, especially after a day of juicing up in the sun. Get to learn how to move, melt, breathe, get to know energy just by touching your heart. And this is our first hands-on healing modality. Now, I'm pretty sure any tantric practitioner would agree with me because they're always saying everyone wants to learn with partners, but the greatest partner and the most important tantric partner you'll ever have in your life is yourself. So if you juice up in the sun all day and then you go home and you practice these moves before night, you'll get results. You'll start cutting through stuff, opening, breathing in. We'll learn the second schematic next week, so I'll show you how to apply that with infinite yang. Breathe the infinite yang energy in. Satya was asking about the modality. Here's modality 1. You breathe infinite energy in, yang, through your heart, through the nostrils, and then you breathe out and you move that energy. Only you can make yourself a master. Satya is saying, I could find this stuff on the internet. Totally. You can find all the bioenergetic stuff on the internet. Yang medicine, you have to do the schematic. You got to get out there and get the sun. And then you got to learn to be a master laying in bed at night. In those moves that I've taught, the micro adjustment move and that how to move energy with your hands, you can take both of those and do it in the sun. You'll find you don't even have to put your hands on your heart. You can move energy. I don't like to put my hands in my heart in front of the sun because it blocks the sun from my heart. But I'll do the same modality as my hands off in just my consciousness. We want everyone to get to those levels. And that requires getting comfortable, getting familiar, and doing the practice. So that's the mastery move. This is the first melt move. Is start blasting your heart with all sorts of energy, move it, feel it. Maybe you can even crunch some density in your heart already. Get to know yourself as a healing master through touching your heart center. In a couple weeks, we'll learn the full-on chelation, but before that, we need to just get everyone on the schematic and start doing energy healing. So before bed, that's your assignment. Next week, I'm going to add the second schematic that's going to make this a lot juicier of a mood. All right. Questions? We'll just look at our missions today. Today's mission, we want to do the master move, which is micro adjustments. We covered that. The 5 personality types of bioenergetics. We went over all 5 in one day, within an hour and a half. It's the schizoid creative, the oral lover, the masochist finisher, the psychopath defender, and the rigid organizer. That's all we need to know. And we'll cover them a little later too. That was the overview. We're now getting into the philosophy and concept of high ticket courses for those who are interested. And we've learned our hands-on healing modality for this week, which is putting your hands over your thymus on your heart and healing the fuck out of yourself. You know, melting, learning, getting comfortable with. Upcoming, we have schematic 2, so please keep practicing infinite yang breath work in and out, especially in the sun, getting all the photons you can get, because we're going to go into schematic 2 next week. And then also for the bioenergetics on Saturday, it's going to be the return of the schizoid. So what Yang Medicine Mastery will be Wednesday night. Satya, that's the one you're really going to want to attend. And then next week, we'll do the return of the schizoid and look more at your courses and where we can go. So that's it for today. Does anyone have any questions?
So could you just clarify the difference between the format of the Wednesdays and the Saturdays? Because I guess I didn't realize that they were kind of aimed differently.
Right. I'm glad you asked. I think Satya kind of had that same question because he just jumped on very recently. Yeah, the Wednesday nights are the Yang medicine training. So that's the schematic I've learned. It's literally about how to like get enlightened, how to power up, how to get your core energy. That's the only schematic people really have to do on this course. In fact, if you just do Wednesday nights in the Yang medicine in the hours, I'll certify you because you'll know more than any other energy healer on the planet, at least in Yang medicine. That's the Wednesdays. We learn Yang medicine and energy mastery in a couple moves. Saturdays, we learn some bioenergetics, we do career development, and we learn some hands-on healing moves. And that's it. And we're keeping it super simple. I don't want these to be longer than an hour and a half each. This is mastery, you know. We want to get everyone what they need so that they can get back to their lives and kick some ass.
Cool. And then Paula asks over chat, does it matter which hand, left or right, is over the heart?
Oh my God, great question. Do as thou wilt, like honestly. I put both hands next to each other on the heart, but you're welcome to trip it out. I just want you to have your hands on that thymus. I like having them right next to each other because they're energetically lined up really nice. It's not like there's fingers over one each other crossing. You know, and so you can experiment. I'll often have the right one push energy and the left receive and vice versa, create circles, circle eights. I'll even like punch energy through my heart with my hands. Like there's just stuck stuff and I'll like back up big with energy and punch it through. But I'd say do what you want, Joshua. Just put 2 hands over your heart.
Well, that's for Paula, actually.
Oh,
and
thanks. You're doing the chat.
Yeah, yeah. And I'll just say that in Kundalini Yoga, because we all kind of, in most traditions, know that the left side is the feminine side and the right side is the masculine side. So Kundalini Yoga has the men do the right side on top and the women do the left side on top.
Yeah. I like that. You could do it, but I suggest next to each other too. I really do. Now that you're kind of putting me into the fire, I'd say put your hands next to each other.
Cool. There you go.
Good question. All right, guys.
I do have a quick question.
Yes.
So you said that schematic that I missed the last time, which I'll go back and look at, was the one that you just did, which is to breathe in the sun. Like it was as simple as that, pretty much, right?
Breathe into the sun. Yeah, as simple as that. You need to go out and learn, dude. Tell me it's that simple after you go out and do it for 2 weeks. Breathe in infinite yang through your nostrils. All the light you possibly can, every photon, taking advantage of it and breathing it out. And doing it throughout the week in your subconscious to trick your subconscious up. many levels of energy. We need to not just do this in the sun, we need to trick your whole life out. The whole idea is to create a protective core force around you. So yeah, it's 5 times infinite yang in the sun, and then it's throughout your day whenever you remember mastery, Satya.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I think I'll give you a little ring after this, but I think that'll close it for today. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you on Wednesday night for the next level of mastery in Schematic 2, which I think you really love. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Thank you for supporting. Paula, great. James, everybody. And Joshua, thanks for covering the chat and some great questions, too.
Yeah, thank you. Have a great rest of your day.
Have a great one. See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.